All right, music fans, welcome back to another exciting edition of As the Journey Turns. This time brought to you by. Yes, I deserve a break right now. Time to get away. Time to escape. Like that Journey album from 1981. Yes, and of course, doing this in real time for just like a handful of real people out there. Getting some folks from the UK. So I want to give a shout out to jolly old England, the free speech capital of the world these days. Oh man. So anyway, Neil Schon is talking to folks over on Twitter or X, depending on what you call it these days. And you know what else, other than this middle person to oversee the financial stuff, Journey needs a communications czar. They do. They you should have somebody who basically says, I wouldn't tangle with some of those people on X. I'd just sort of ignore them. I mean, it doesn't help you. Notice how Jonathan Cain is never like going back and forth. Very disciplined. Cain is very disciplined. He doesn't say a lot, but when he says things, they have a lot of impact. Whereas this is day to day for Neil Schon. I mean, you can easily get pulled into this, and I've been there, and I learned that this was a huge waste of my time. I mean, I think fans appreciate when Neil will play his guitar and he'll video what he's doing, and then he'll upload it to whatever platform. I think people like that. But when people are talking about Steve Perry and Neil Schon responds to it, it's not going to go well. So here's what happened here. So the guitarist, meaning Neil, shared a statement about Jonathan Cain's lawsuit against him on X. And a user, and that's a great word for what this is at some point. Think of like a drug user. Seriously, social media that's a perfect term. Man, are you a user? Yeah, I'm a user. I'm trying to kick the habit. So a user left a comment, an addict left a comment saying, hey, Neil Schon, awesome, but Journey isn't Journey without Steve Perry. Sorry, just truth. Oh no. Why did the user do that? Shouldn't have said that. So Neil comes back with, yes, I know. That's why we're selling out stadiums. And that's it. Done. Mic drop, right? It is a good comeback, but it still misses the point. The point is that for many fans, even today, especially with all the turmoil in the band, and I've covered this over and over again, a lot of people are far more nostalgic, like that McDonald's commercial. They just want to go back. They want to go back to a better time. They want to eat the fillet of fish in the styrofoam box with the tartar sauce coming out, all over the place. And they want their chocolate milkshake to go with it. So again, during, I guess, the same thread or in the same thread, Neil addressed a website that was talking about the best lead singers of all time. And so Schon named Steve Perry instead of Arnel Pineda, writing Steve Perry / Paul Rogers. Those were his two choices that he thought should be on the list. Perry wasn't on the list. And again, nobody is going to see, this is the dirty secret. Nobody's going to admit that at this stage that you can't top Steve Perry. Arnel has been a faithful servant to this franchise for many years, but it's very similar to Kelly Hansen being a faithful servant to the Foreigner franchise with about the same results. I mean, honestly, I think Kelly is probably more accurate at this stage, although, he complains that these songs are getting harder to sing. Arnel doesn't talk about how hard these songs are. And nobody in the band seems to want to address this, that no singer could do this month after month and have their voice in decent condition, unless they were some sort of genetic mutant, right? So they copy and paste some other stuff in here, which I think is well done. Schon recently spoke to The Guardian about Don't Stop Believin' and said he misses the days in the studio with the band and Steve Perry. He says, we were so well rehearsed. We just walked into Fantasy Studios like we were walking on stage. I wonder why they were such a well-oiled machine back in the day. Leadership and chemistry. And that leader, I'm not going to give Steve Perry more credit than he deserves, but I'm pretty sure that Steve Perry's leadership and his management skills, which he had, definitely a type A personality, probably helped a lot. I think those guys needed that kind of leadership. And they also had Herbie Herbert, which, again, there's no manager that can compare it to Herbie Herbert, at least for Journey. Some people say Irving Azoff at this stage would be a good idea. Neal Schon is not a fan of Irving Azoff. Anyway, he says, we knocked that song out in a couple of hours, probably talking about Don't Stop Believin'. That's the beauty. Now, this is a very damaging statement. He doesn't realize it, though. He says, that's the beauty of having a real band of great musicians, as opposed to a fake band of mediocre musicians. Now, again, I'm not saying any of these guys on stage currently are bad musicians. They're all very good. The problem is there is no chemistry. And Neal goes on to say, we had such chemistry. I really miss the days of everyone being in the same room. And then they go on to talk about Perry's message back in March. That's how long ago, when Perry said he was emotionally stunned after Forbes magazine said Don't Stop Believin' was the biggest song of all time. He thanked his mom and dad. And Neal Schon said, hey, that's great, Steve. God bless. I myself reflect on the great time we had writing this song. Respectfully, Neal Schon. So, again, what's weird about that is Neal is always trying to inject himself into stuff where Steve Perry is still kind of on his own, just saying what he wants to say. Perry isn't thanking his bandmates, and I kind of blasted Perry a little bit for that. I think he should have done both. I think he should have said, hey, we had such a great band, and Neal and John obviously helped write the song. But Perry was reminiscing about his parents and, the fact that his parents were very musical and he probably misses them. Perry has an emotional connection to his childhood and to his family. You don't see that really with Neal Schon. I'm just saying. It's just something I've noticed. So anyway, the lesson here, if there is one, I'm not sure there is one, but it's another episode. So I'm going to say the lesson here is probably don't respond to fans who love the Steve Perry era and aren't willing to admit, regardless of how many tickets you sell, they're not admitting that this current band is as good as, say, the Escape lineup. I don't think anybody in the rock music world would say this current lineup is as good as the Escape lineup. There's no way to put, lipstick on a pig here. And I want to give, kudos to everybody who is in this current band, because I think they're all great musicians. But I think they would tell you, no, this is a good band, but that was the best band. That was a band that everybody has been trying to copy. All of that melodic rock stuff that I like to showcase, they're all trying to copy Frontiers and Escape and Departure. That's what they're trying to do. And so, again, a communications person would be a very good idea. So, John, just a suggestion here. Maybe everybody in Journey have like somebody who checks over these tweets and these postings over on Facebook or Instagram or wherever they're happening. because at this point, I think you need discipline. Don't bust on fans who love Steve Perry. That's not a good strategy. All right. So before I wrap up this episode, since I'm getting a lot of folks from the UK, I wanted to feature a band from the UK. And I've had these guys actually on the show. I had one of the gentlemen who are in this, the Big Wolf Band. And this is an album that I think I got first, A Rebel Story. And then after that, I got this one, which is called Be Free. This is superb blues rock. I just put it in the car and let it roll, and great guitar work, great vocals, great songs. I mean, and it's stuff that should be popular, but obviously there's no support system for it. So I'm the support system for this band, the Big Wolf Band. Great people too. They seem to be very nice, and I would patronize them. Check out their website. I think it's probably bigwolfband.com or something to that effect. Just use Google. It might actually lead you to where you need to go. I want to thank everybody for supporting this channel, patrons and YouTube members, and also those people who are constantly buying me coffee. I appreciate the Buy Me a Coffee application. It has worked out very nice, and I'm very caffeinated, and I'm very thankful for all the nice messages over there. This series, which will continue most likely because there's material almost every day for it as the journey turns, again, brought to you by McDonald's back in the 1970s. That's when my parents used to bring me there, and that was a cool time. I mean, I'm not saying it's good for you. It wasn't healthy back then, but it's probably a lot worse now. So you deserve a break today, and so do I. So God bless you all. And I'll be back with more as the journey turns.